Drew Brees turned to his wife when he woke up and asked, "Did yesterday really happen?" The Saints and their fans awoke Monday to the realization that their once lovable losers from New Orleans were Super Bowl champions for the first time in the club's 43-year history, after Sunday's 31-17 triumph over the Indianapolis Colts. A lawyer for Michael Jackson's doctor says Dr. Conrad Murray will make bail, plead not guilty, and then fight new criminal charges against him. Prosecutors today charged Murray with involuntary manslaughter, capping a lengthy investigation into Jackson's death last summer. Miley Cyrus has organized an online auction to benefit the relief effort in Haiti. And Britney Spears, Hugh Jackman, Ellen DeGeneres, Julianne Moore, Whoopi Goldberg, and Demi Lovato, and others will donate items and experiences. Cyrus is donating several items, including a Herve Ledger dress she wore to the 2010 Grammy Awards. Fans can also bid on Spears' 2008 MTV Video Music Awards dress, a set visit to Jackman's new film, and Lovato's store wardrobe, and along with other items. The auction runs from 7 p.m. on Monday through 7 p.m. on February 18th. All proceeds go to the American Red Cross. Voters in parts of Queens, Long Island, and Westchester County will decide who will fill the remaining months of the 4 open assembly seats in the special elections on Tuesday. Regardless of the outcome, the races won't affect Democrats' supermajority in the 150-seat assembly. The Super Bowl was watched by more than 106 million people, surpassing the 1983 finale of MASH to become the world's most watched program in television history. The Nielsen Company estimated Monday that 106.5 million people watched the New Orleans Saints upset the Indianapolis Colts. The beats the MASH finale, which had 105.97 million viewers in an era when there were only fewer television sets.
Andrew, let's take out with your name.
This is Derek McClain, iNews.
New York Democratic Governor David Paterson is not planning to resign. Last week, media blogs and the New York Times were threatening to publish a story so scandalous that he'd have to step down. On a Friday radio show, Paterson shrugged off a New York Post report about a lunch he had with a woman in New Jersey. A spokeswoman for the governor has commented, saying, "This is a new low, even for the standards of Planet Albany. The circus of this past week, entirely fabricated out of thin air and innuendo. And an embarrassment for all who have played a role in fueling it." When Paterson first became governor, he openly admitted to having been unfaithful to his wife. In sports news, CBS's broadcast of last night's Super Bowl brought in huge numbers. In fact, it's the first sports program to draw in 100 million viewers, with about 68% of homes tuning in for the big game, making this year's Super Bowl number 2 on the list of all-time viewing record. The number 1 spot goes to the 1983 finale of MASH with 106 million viewers. For HNN, I'm Natalie Parsons.
For the first time in 43 years of existence, the New Orleans Saints are Super Bowl champions. Probably the biggest play of the game was an onside kick to begin the second half by the Saints, which led to their first touchdown and lead of the game. Quarterback Drew Brees completed 32 of 39 passes for 288 yards and en route to MVP honors. Saints kicker Garrett Hartley became the first kicker in Super Bowl history to make 3 field goals outside of 40 yards in the 31-17 win. Excuse me. Colts QB Peyton Manning threw for 333 yards in the game, but a late turnover cost the Colts any shot of making a comeback. The Super Bowl wasn't the only sports action yesterday. Switching to the NBA, Dwight Howard and the Magic went into Boston and defeated the Celtics 96-89. The Celtics had a healthy roster for the first time all season and had 4 starters in double figures, but Boston couldn't overcome 20 points from Vince Carter and yet another double-double performance from Dwight Howard. The Sacramento Kings were in Toronto looking to stop a 5-game losing streak, but the Raptors' Chris Bosh was just too much to handle. Bosh finished with a double-double, scoring 36 points and having 11 boards. The Kings were led by Kevin Martin's 24 points. For Hofstra News Now, I'm Alex Santiago.
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Golden with Hofstra News Now. Hofstra alumni Marcus Colston and the New Orleans Saints football team won the 44th NFL Super Bowl last night over the favored Indianapolis Colts. Led by quarterback and game MVP Drew Brees, the Saints beat the Colts 31-17 for their first ever Super Bowl appearance. This Wednesday, February 10th, Hofstra's Frank G. Zarb School of Business is hosting a graduate business information session. Faculty and staff will be on hand to provide information and answer any questions relating to the full-time and part-time MBA and MS programs. The open house will be from 6 to 7:30 p.m. in CV Star Room 309. For more information, go to www.hofstra.edu. Michael Jackson's doctor, Conrad Murray, has been charged today with involuntary manslaughter in lieu of the pop singer's death. Prosecutors announced early this morning that the Houston cardiologist was with the singer when he died. Dr. Murray's attorney said he will plead not guilty to the charge. If convicted, he could face up to 4 years in jail. Coming up on HNN, we'll show you exactly what Hofstra's new recreational center will look like.
The New Orleans Saints are Super Bowl champions. No more paper bags over their heads. Rather, the Saints and their fans can rejoice in raising the Lombardi Trophy over their heads as New Orleans, 5-point underdogs entering the game, knocked off Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts. The 31-17 final doesn't do a very well-played, closely played game its due justice as New Orleans came back from a 10-point deficit to capture the title. Manning was leading a drive downfield in an attempt to tie the game at 24 when Tracy Porter intercepted a pass from Manning and returned it 74 yards for the clinching score, stoking New Orleans to the 31-17 final margin. Drew Brees was named MVP thanks to his 288 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. And New Orleans' first Super Bowl championship was viewed by 106 million people, good for an all-time television record. The Nielsen Company estimate of 106.5 million viewers broke the 27-year-old record of the MASH finale back in 1983. The MASH finale saw 105.97 million viewers in an era where there were fewer television sets across the country. And finally, with the Saints winning the Super Bowl, Hofstra University has now back-to-back Super Bowl champions, joining Marcus Colston this year with the Saints, with Willie Colon of the Super Bowl 43 champion Pittsburgh Steelers. In a related story, Stuart Rabinowitz was seen red-faced in his living room at about 10:30 last night. For HNN, I'm Mike Leslie.
Well, it's either Oprah or this. Thank you for choosing HNN. I'm Michael Kane. After 4 decades of frustration, the New Orleans Saints have finally reached the top. Led by quarterback Drew Brees, head coach Sean Payton, and the backing of Who Dat Nation, the Saints played and coached their way to a 31-17 victory against the Indianapolis Colts in Super Bowl 44 last night. Brees completed a game-record 82% of his passes and was the game's MVP, while kicker Garrett Hartley completed all 3 of his 40-plus yard field goals. After going down 10-0 in the first quarter, New Orleans staged a comeback highlighted by a surprise onside kick recovery to open the second half. Staying in New Orleans amongst the celebration of last night's game, the city has elected a new mayor. 49-year-old Mitch Landrieu won in a landslide over 10 other candidates, winning 2/3 of the total votes. The city's first white mayor in over 30 years said, quote, "We're all going together and we're not leaving anybody behind," addressing a crowd that was left frustrated by the slow recovery from Hurricane Katrina. Finally, another disturbing tale of military waterboarding, this time on a 4-year-old girl. 27-year-old Joshua Tabor, a U.S. soldier, allegedly beat his young daughter before holding her head underwater in the kitchen sink. The Washington State resident claimed he did it because she, quote, refused to recite her ABCs. Tabor did not show any remorse to police, is being charged with second-degree assault of a child, and will appear in court next week. For HNN, I'm Michael Kane.